The best thing I've learned from watching The Patrick Show is that this show has two paths laid ahead. One path would lead it into becoming a great show that can stand on its own legs. And the other path would lead it to favor short-term gains, sacrificing that needed unique factor that'll get people to specifically want to watch a show over a SpongeBob or Camp Coral episode that features Patrick, for example. This is video 1 of a 2-part miniseries I'm going to do where I speak about a pair of episodes, this being the first part of the episode, going down the first path with the second video talking about the second path. By the way, we're in the spooky month, which just so happens to correlate with a new merch drop I had. We have the greatest sticker on planet Earth, Buff J. Doesn't it inspire you to go to the gym? There's also a young me with a young crush, my pet, which there is some backstory there that I can't wait to show you guys. Lastly, however, there's a limited edition Halloween poster. This is the second one, the first one being done in 2020 with Skelly J. This one revolves around a crazy camping experience I went on, which by the way, you might have seen a community post go out about this. Once again, this poster is only going to be around for a limited amount of time shortly after Halloween. After that, you won't be able to buy it for as long as The Adventures of Kid Danger is a bad show, which you know is forever, right? Remember to go to alphaj.show/merch or find the links in the description below or pinned comment. So Lost in Couch starts off with a space robotic version of Patrick just being incompetent as his modern self. I suppose here, he has somewhat of a reason to be this way, given that his commander within this in-universe episode of a space show apparently never leaves his keys, to which I never really thought about keys on a spaceship. Didn't realize how many space break-ins there would be. Honestly, it's a fine bit, but definitely isn't the reason why I would say this is a great show or a great episode. Cut to Patrick, who addresses the viewers directly.
Oh, hey there! Today on The Patrick Show, you'll be watching me watch cartoons!
Oh, whoa. Okay, listen here. My job is to watch the cartoon. Your job is to be the cartoon. Let's not get fancy with this. Don't you ever forget your place. After the show switches to a clever play on words, bowling for clams, Patrick fat fingers, or I guess fat fins, the remote, causing the cereal to spill and the remote to sink into the crevices of the couch, which we'll get into in a second. Although I'm not still exactly sold on the idea of Patrick in-universe needing or executing a show well, this episode has made one of the best uses for it so far. They take inspiration from, possibly even a light parody of those, hey, let's go find this mysterious or hidden thing that you would find wedged in between all of those reality shows that you don't care about on Animal Planet or the History Channel. The episode is themed around this journey happening within the context of it all being in the in-universe Patrick Star Show, which just so happens to mirror what the full episode is about. And you know what? The journey they're about to take us on is actually quite fun. After a visit from that creep from SpongeBob, another background character we must be subjected to seeing so much, Patrick is lowered down into the chasm of the couch cushions, lowering down softly onto a smaller cushion, drifting through milk and cereal that sank into the couch from earlier.
Fascinating. These natural sofa formations must have been here for thousands of years. Or at least since Mom reupholstered the couch. Firstly,
the background design here is beautiful, really going the extra mile to immerse you into the start of this adventure. Secondly, because this is Patrick and Ouchie centric, and Ouchie is Patrick's non-speaking pet, this episode is one of the first tests for me as far as having Patrick carrying an episode on his back. Given that he was a major but not the main character of another show, there would be aspects to his character that would either need to be fleshed out more or shown more to provide legitimacy of wanting to watch this show in addition to the rest of the SpongeBob cinematic universe. Lastly, I mean, just think about this yourself. He's going to find a remote. For that to be as fun as I'm implying it to be, they would have to make it larger than life and an enjoyable journey, because we already know what the destination is going to be. Of course he'll find a remote, but will the adventure between now and then be worth it?
Remoto dragons love to hide deep in cushioned jungles just like these.
The answer is, in my opinion, yes. While Patrick struggles from a so close so far pattern here, where although the main issue is that he must find a remote, the struggle he has along the way provides the entertainment. Take him being crushed as he's in this wide, vast couch region. What could possibly be crushing him so much that even someone as cartoonishly wacky as him couldn't simply just pop out? Well, a wild SpongeBob character has appeared.
That's a thick-ass boy!
Now I do want to add an important caveat here. I feel as this is going to be brutally ignored both here here and in my less positive review of the second path of the Patrick Star episode I'm going to be going down, but I'm just placing it here just for clarity. I am completely self-aware that none of the 3 shows currently out right now wish to deviate from the main idea of what the original show was about so much that the characters within each of the 3 shows are self-contained. You can see a character on one show appear in another who originated in another. The difference between what you see here and what you'll see in the episode I'll be covering later is that Boba Bass is here and then he's gone. They do not lean on him for an extended amount of time because he's a recognizable character, in the way that Plankton not only got a commercial but a flashback scene within the first episode, taking priority over, I don't know, his parents, debatably sister and grandfather, who are supposedly original and main characters designed for this show specifically. The nuance is key. You can have other characters from other shows appear in the Patrick Star show, but for it to have a unique point to it, Patrick needs to become his own character that can carry an episode, and the show needs to develop characters for the episode that accompany said main character that is not just extensions from another show. This is the Patrick Star show, so Patrick should have different friends, enemies, people to interact with, other than SpongeBob or who else, because worst case scenario, your show just comes across as if you just swapped the main characters around. It would be like if you intended to see an Iron Man movie, and a large part of the movie also accompanied the Hulk. You would inquire, why wasn't it called Iron Man and the Hulk? And also, that doesn't necessarily show me that Iron Man would deserve a movie or be seen as a character that can hold his own in that scenario, not in real life.
We're safe!
Oh, shrimp! Patrick, I lost the rope. Are you okay? Are you still recording?
While I still think Squidina as a character needs either more funny moments or depth or just anything beyond, the director of the show. She is just miles ahead of some other family members, which I'll get to in a second. So the Sockodactyl monster takes Patrick to be fed. And look, I didn't say that the entire episode was going to be a breakthrough from the show. There are some things you're going to have to accept, like a fascination with eating. At least here it's over and done within 5 seconds, and the gross part is cut from the episode instead of them focusing on it for the episode, which is a step in the right direction in my opinion, and I have to give flowers there. Speaking of direction, when Squidina realizes that Patrick may have slipped into the dresser dimension rather than the couch canyons, by the way, I'm just making up these names as I go along, she confronts Patrick's dad, who just acts as an extension of Patrick. Honestly, I still have no idea what the parents are supposed to be, and unlike shows like The Loud House or even some chunks of Phineas and Ferb, the parents were kind of just there until needed, kind of inoffensive, just not really doing much any way, shape, or form. Here, Patrick's parents are basically just an extension of Patrick. And I do mean that quite literally, given that we knew of Patrick before his parents. So their lack of any unique identifiers hurts them as far as reasons to watch the show. Take this scene where Squidina has to convince her father that Patrick is not only real and his son, but also that he's in danger.
He's your son!
My imaginary son is in trouble? Then I'm going in after him.
This might take a moment, so we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Alright, so as a person who's watched every episode out so far, I don't really care much for the sponsors. Like, I don't have a burning hatred for them, but they're ultimately filler. Like, in the most generous defense of them, you could describe them as loose world building and lore, but from a community that doesn't care much about the connection of lore or world building, that'd be like me telling you about a haircut I got today. Doesn't matter if I wear a hoodie all the time. So Squidina pushes Patrick's mom, Patrick's grandfather, and get this, Perch Perkins? Oh no, don't ask me. All of them down the couch to look for Patrick. We get to what won me over in this episode. I was already in the path of liking this, but this sold it for me.
Looks like a dragon print. Hey, I was looking at that.
This didn't win me up because of an emotional build-up. This didn't win me over because the fight scene was well choreographed. This didn't even win me up because it was laugh out loud funny. This didn't even win me over because it had some reference or it had some episode continuity build-up. This won me over because it has perfectly shown me exactly what the Patrick show could be, which is completely different from SpongeBob SquarePants and Camp Coral. This makes sense to have Patrick look for a remote, fight and struggle along the way, end it with a moderately big fight scene, and get the remote. It was completely led by him with minimal help from Ouchie and Squidina, in which he served as both the adventurous type but leaning into his empty-headedness and naive side as well. Like with Star Wars, the Patrick Star Show excels as a show, in my opinion, when it's not just absurd and over-exaggerated but done so with minimal help from any other outside forces. Any that do come should complement, not overshadow Patrick, as he's the main character. This is his show, so treat him as a star. Pun somewhat intended.
Batteries! Oh, I hope they're AA!
He slays the beast single-handedly, a far improvement from his first episode, the one that I covered, where he just existed and the problem solved itself. Now, some may look at the fact that perfectly working batteries in arm's reach is kind of iffy, but I don't really care. It's the dresser or couch region. I've been in homes that have had weirder things in their dresser. So the Remoto Dragon turns back into their friendly, docile self who thanks Patrick for feeding them new batteries. However, given that Squidina lost the rope, he's going to be down there until he or someone else helps him find a way out. There's a brief Larry cameo, Perch Perkins does a generic news thing, and the big surprise, Cecil still doesn't know his own son.
Do you know what this means? Patrick's lost! This is terrible!
Maybe we should send someone in after him.
Patrick, you're safe!
Now I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't I have a problem with this because they just save him just because? Well, yes and no. I'm not entirely crazy about this writing style and would much rather have preferred a more clever way out, as they do lean on the absurdity side quite a bit, and it's not like I don't like it, it's just used a little bit too much for me personally. But I'm not upset at it as the way that I was with the first episode, because the episode built an expectation of Patrick finding the remote. It took his efforts to do so, it was entertaining along the way, and he did it through his own qualities. So him just appearing here doesn't really matter much to me, because what this episode promised it already delivered. And plus, kind of like what I was saying earlier, the show can be absurd. The core of what the episode is about makes sense. They end the episode with not getting the grandpa, because cranky character is Butt Monkey. So this is path 1 of the show, to have Patrick stand on his own. You can cameo other characters for a short while, but build the show around Patrick and give the other characters slight development. There's another path that the show has been going down, and I want to cover that soon. Remember alphaj.show/merch to get your limited edition Halloween poster or any of the new merch that I've dropped in the shop. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and until next time, take care. Off out.